Well, thank you guys so much for doing that episode
Thanks
with
for
me.
having
Our
us. It was
pleasure.
so fun.
And now we're going to talk a little bit about musical improv and
I
just like
haven't
nerd
done
out a little bit.
this podcast in years. Since
well,
like
you
the
were
very
the very
first season.
first guest.
Was it the very first one of When Harry Met Sally?
Yeah, that was the very
Whoa.
first one, you and Angela.
Whoa,
It
iconic.
was so fun.
Yes.
Yeah,
Iconic.
I love this show. I love you and I love your
just
show.
made that connect. I should have said it in the intro. I should have said back from being on the very
That's
first
so funny. I didn't. I
episode.
don't think I knew it was the very first one.
was,
we
yeah.
did it in
In
a
my garage.
It was
Whoa.
so hot.
Yes, it was like much worse.
It was
This is
different.
much better.
It was very different.
It was
yeah.
just different. That's a good way to put it. But which just speaks to, I mean, your length of time doing musical improv and
I mean,
being involved with it.
yeah.
The question I ask everybody at the top is what brought you to musical improv and like what's been your journey with it so far. For you, that answer's Tara. For
It's
you, that
long.
answer's long. But
It
maybe
doesn't have to be though. I just did Susie's. Are you competing? Susie's podcast, so you can get
No,
a
not
very
at
long
all.
version
Yes,
of this
and
answer.
everyone should go listen to
if you
Susie's,
go watch
Yes
the Yes
Also.
Also. I gave
Yeah.
a 2 hour. That was a 2 hour. But you know,
Yes, exactly.
I've been not to age myself. I don't feel old, but when you hear that I've been doing this 30 years, it probably suddenly makes you go, that bitch is old. But I
Damn!
you know, damn.
That bitch is old.
I was doing short form, you know, and I was in a show, and part of the short form show was songs, and I was not a great singer. I'm still not. You are both beautiful,
That's very,
beautiful
very
singers.
nice.
Thank you.
But I love to sing, and I have no fear of it. And I think you don't have to be a great singer to be great at musical improv. And so I try to I walk that walk. But I was not a good singer when I started. I could hear it. I can hear when notes aren't good, but I couldn't change them. And so I'm also proof that if you do this a lot, you can get better at the stuff you're not great at. Like it's like anything, right? But I was doing musical improv, and we would do a full improvised musical as part of our short form show. We would get ask the audience for a story, and we would turn it into a musical. And it would be a solid, 20 to 30 minute musical as part of an hour and a half long short form show. I put short form in quotes because we're still doing sometimes like 5-minute scenes in a
Right.
long musical. And a bunch of us were doing UCB, and so it was like me, Eliza Skinner, John O'Donnell, a bunch of people from New York, and Michael Leffingwell. I don't know. There were a bunch of us that were like, oh, we want to do this, a long form version of this. And so we just started, doing it at UCB and at the Magnet. And then at some point I was like, I said to Frank Spitznagel, who's he just passed away this last year, and the most brilliant person to ever live, musical piano player and musical theater director. And one day I said to him, I think we could teach this. I would love for more people to be doing this, because at the time it really was like Baby Wants Candy was in town, and it was just sort of this same, all of us were the same people, and he just was like, yeah, let's do it. And so I don't know, probably, I want to say like 2007. I don't really know what year we started teaching it. 2007, 2008, 2009, somewhere in there. So then we started teaching it, and it just kept growing and growing from
Yeah.
there. So I've been doing it a long time.
And would you say it's fair to say you were one of the first people to be teaching musical improv?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, Eliza for sure too. And then Baby Wants Candy, they would do some workshops and stuff, but it was like more those of us in the cast of Baby Wants Candy, we would like get together and rehearse, and we would do stuff. But like to teach like an actual, here is a 101 level class that
Yeah.
is like, and that I was like thinking about what are the steps to build that are like 101, 201, 301, whatever that looks like. For sure. I mean, in New York, for sure.
Yeah.
It was one of the first places and times that you could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like I get to be, part of that lineage because you were the first musical improv teacher that I had
Yeah.
back in probably 15 or 16.
I mean, but yeah, and then you disappeared for a while.
Well, so
You moved to
basically,
Texas.
for me, comedy and music, I kept really, really separate. And in fact, I'll go on record saying I was a musical improv hater, baby. I was like, what do they fucking think they're doing up there? And what I realized was it was my own sense of fear of fusing those two things that I loved separately. I had fear that I wasn't going to be able to do it, right?
Yeah.
And so it came to a point where I was like, fuck, I have to do this. Like, I'm so afraid of it that clearly there's something to it. And
That's your-
in meeting you doing it, it
Yeah.
kind of unlocked a lot of not unlocked is the best word, but like any insecurity I felt about fusing the two was totally washed aside. And it led me on a journey to reconnect with music, and that brought me to travel a bit and then come back and do it some more. And so for me, the experience of taking the classes that you established kind of unlocked a whole creative world for me that I had felt pretty locked up about.
Yeah.
And now I'm a monster. Now
You
I'm
are a
big
monster. I was so happy when you came
beast.
back from Texas. I
Yeah.
was like, you don't belong in Texas.
Listen, I needed a break.
Yeah.
I had to go back to it, you know?
Yeah.
How about you?
Oh, I need to. Sorry, I'm having a producer's mind for.
Oh, God, what happened?
I just I saw something weird on the thing, and I need to make sure one of your mics isn't crackling. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Oh, how
No
would you know if
problem.
you can tell just by looking at the computer if the
Yeah.
mic is crackling?
Yeah.
Is it mine or
Can
his?
you imagine?
Actually, neither.
Okay.
Nothing's crackling.
No.
Do not edit this out. This is an important part of the process.
So yeah, both of you came to it that way, and
Yeah.
and I love that. I want to ask what you're both so brilliant, and you're both so good in this. I want to know. Let's like do a little. It's so rare for players. Usually, you play a show and then you never talk about it again.
Yeah.
And I think there are things to learn from shows we do, like in the way football players watch their
Yeah.
games. And I don't think we do it very often as musical improvisers. And I think this Talkback is an opportunity to look, 2020 vision, talk about what we're feeling awesome about and what
The
we really
show we
liked.
just did.
Yes.
That's so interesting because on my Herald team, which I was on a Herald team at UCB for a very long time called Mother, and we used to rehearse twice a week.
Yeah.
And we played once a week, and we got together and watched our shows.
Yeah.
And we watched when you think about like the people who are out there who are like just starting doing this, who are like taking a class once a week and then wanting to get on teams or wanting to whatever, like when I tell you I was on 5 teams, I was rehearsing every night, and my Herald team was together 3 to 5 nights a week, watching our shows back, talking about our shows. So that what you're talking about, we 100% did that.
Yeah,
like
it's not, but it's pretty rare now. I
yeah,
think.
it doesn't happen anymore. Like the work that we put in to become who we became, it was our whole entire lives. And
Yeah.
it was also not something anyone else was doing. Like our small group of people at UCB at that time were the only people really doing it in New York in that way. And so it's so valuable. And you know this, you both know this. I always tell my students, talk about what you love first.
Yes.
You cannot leave a show going, oh, I hated
messed up
this,
this
or I
and
messed.
this and
You
this.
you just didn't. Like improv doesn't. You just didn't mess it up. If you were gonna do it differently, you would have done it differently.
Yeah.
That said, I would have made my characters all have different voices because I was like, oh, you're on a podcast, Tara. Dana and Eve should have much more distinctive voices, so you don't have to come in and be like, it's me, Dana, or whatever.
Yes.
That's my note to myself.
Yeah, for me, it's always about like
Start with something nice.
I love performing with you guys. It's such a joy, and it's so fun to watch you both who have clearly mastered this, right? You
Yeah.
clearly
That's
have
very
such a
nice.
strong, understanding and a craft and a technique to it. And so it's easy for me to go, well, shit, this is great. I'm just going to enjoy this shit and be the fucking cuck in the corner watching everybody perform. And I have to remind myself, like, no, like, I'm here. Like, I need to, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Does
be
that
part of
happen
it.
to you where you suddenly are like, oh, I'm in this show? Like you're
But
watching
it comes
people
from a
be
place of
funny and
joy.
great. I do that all the time
Yeah.
where I'll be
Usually
like,
it
oh,
happens
I've
to me
got to
if
be
I'm-
in this show.
Right.
It happens to me if I'm on a show where I'm playing with a lot of aggro, or not aggro. That's the wrong word. Really experienced players.
Yeah. Sure.
And sometimes really aggro players. Like
Yeah.
everyone's
Yeah.
really getting out there. I'll be like, I'm having a great time.
Right.
I
I'm in the
love
audience.
watching it so as much as I love doing it, to the point where sometimes I'll be on the back line and I'll go, oh, right, you're not just watching. You have to also
Right.
pay attention in a way that you're going to be in
Yeah.
it at some point too, especially
Yes.
when it's like narrative or something.
It's narrative shows. It's easy to end up on the back if you're not playing one of the two important,
Yeah.
quote unquote, important
Sure.
roles.
I really loved that Adam and Eve game of like, I love the game of like trying to be in a time and think of like 2011 is so. I was like, oh, what
could
was
not
I doing?
Think of a thing.
Yikes.
The only
Brutal.
thing I could think of is I had just gotten married in
Yeah.
2010, and so I did have a sense of some things. Like I was like that song, that Moves Like Jagger song.
Mm-hmm.
I was really really into it around the time of my wedding because I was like working out a lot, and so it was one of my workout songs. And
Yes.
so I had in my mind, I'm like, oh, I know like 3 or 4 songs that are like the thing from that moment to me. But then so I love like being like, I don't love comedy when it's anachronistic, or
Yeah.
if it's accidentally anachronistic, but when it's, when you're not paying attention, and so so it's like really having fun looking you in the eye to be like, what do we know about 2011? What do we know about 2017?
And if you go back to the record, you'll see that I truly had not a. I think I tried to do one. I think I had one in the chamber. I was like, yeah, like Carly Rae Jepsen.
Yeah,
All right, let's move on.
Yeah. I thought that was fun, and then I thought the game of it where you went back three minutes so you could sing a song
so
was so
funny.
funny, Ryan.
To
Really
me,
clever.
there was a lot of fun kind of across the board with this idea of interruption, right? Because
Yeah.
we start with, your character technically interrupting us from having sex, then I'm interrupting you guys sort of having your conversation about this thing.
Yes.
And then the time travel becomes its own sort
yeah.
of form of like, how can we
Interruption.
interrupt each other's sort of like, right before like the confession, it felt like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Right
Yeah.
before we were about to say like whatever it was our character
And
wanted,
like
it
the
was
phone
like,
keeps ringing and the
Right.
door keeps knocking.
Right.
Yeah.
I
That's
think
interesting.
I think the thing I would take away as something I really liked was this sense of like grabbing onto a soft pitch and really, really running with it, especially early in a show, can be so helpful. Because I think really early on, you literally like pitched two things on what the show could be. We had this first scene where we sort of laid out like a problem.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it was like,
Oh yeah, I was like, oh, you're so what? Is
and
there
I was like,
anything
what
I
am
can
I supposed to do? What can I do? And you're like, unless you can find a time machine or become a whole different person.
And that's what the whole
literally-
show was,
And
yeah.
literally, it was like, oh, so there are two pitches on what the show could
Yeah.
be. It could be,
And it was
time-
both.
and it kind of ended up being
Yeah.
both. But it's like, like I could have been like, that second one, yes, I'll become a whole different person.
Right.
Let go of like. In other words, it's like you just do what sparks joy.
Yeah.
And so I loved this thing of like, that was like a soft pitch. I could tell you weren't like, okay, everyone,
Oh.
we're
You're
doing
shoehorning it.
Oh
time
no!
machine
I
show.
actually was like, there's nothing you can do. You'd have to have a time machine. You know
Yes.
what I mean? And then it
And
was
so
like, I'm gonna get a time machine. And I
Yeah.
saw your face, and I was like, when you did the doon doon on the keys, I was like, oh, we're
Yeah.
doing a time machine.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
And
because
I loved that it was a Blackberry on a patio. Take it now. We can have friends over.
I've recently been doing a lot of cleaning in my apartment
Yeah.
that I've been putting off, and
It was-
so that feeling of freedom.
Well, it's very funny, yeah. Like all the different versions of time. I like doing, these kind of improv is so fun that you can riff on culture, but like in a shorthand that everyone has.
Yeah.
And you don't have to like spend too long on it either,
Yeah.
in the way like sketches do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you
like,
don't have to. There doesn't have to be a ton of exposition because we're
No.
gonna yes
Right.
the shit out of what. Yeah.
Like
We're
Time
in it.
Machine
We're in
Blackberry
it.
is like as a sketch
even,
is like,
like-
so boring because
Yes.
it's like, oh, we have to do 30 jokes about this, and instead we
Right.
can just be like, that was just funny, and now we're done with
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I love Craigslist and Blackberries. It was like I can't think of 2011, but I'm definitely gonna do a bunch of 1999 stuff. Craigslist and
True.
Blackberries.
It's true. I had nothing. The aughts
It's so
are so
good.
lost to me.
Well, they're just so they're all the same. There's so
Yeah.
little that's like this is the thing of that.
yeah.
Um,
Thinking about as always in these shows, it's the accompaniment that often is the area where I'm like, oh, I could have been thinking. I felt like I was playing the same. I'm trying to mix it up more, and just coming back in the new year, I sort of was like, oh, I'm playing a lot of the same tunes over and over again. But so that was something that was on my mind, and then just losing track of. It's always such a fine line. You want chaos because
Yeah.
chaos is
Right.
the joy.
yeah.
And you have to like do the work of like anyway.
You have to tell the story.
Yeah,
you
it's
have to you have to go to the next thing.
keep
Yeah.
trying to bring back the emotional stakes. Like
Yeah.
you do the funny joke, and then it's like we do a joke on a joke on a joke on a joke, and we all had so much fun. And then you have to go, right? But anyway, I love you.
Yeah.
Right.
Like-
yeah, and yeah. Oh, we're developing an MNRA. We've got to also tie these people somehow back to. Yeah, you've got to all make it all connect while you're also really enjoying fucking with each other.
Yes.
And not letting anything go. Like you don't want anything to be at the end to go.
Chafe.
Oh, we didn't.
Yeah.
We
Chaff,
had
yeah.
that thing and it did it, and we never saw it again or whatever that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was what I found myself thinking about was that sense of like. I think we balanced both muscles. I wish I'd had a little more of like keep the train on the tracks and
See, but
yeah.
that's unfortunately never gonna happen with me, Mama.
I don't know if you know her,
I think
but-
a superpower of mine is like I can play really emotionally. I can get super invested in like how I'm feeling about something, and my brain forgets details, even stuff that I put out in the world. And I think truly, as I sort of look back on the play-by-play of it all, it's always a constant struggle of like, okay, without feeling too shoehorny or feeling like I have to like wrangle this bull back to a joke, how can I continue to keep the things that I've established up in the air, right?
Yes.
But oftentimes that's what teammates are for. You know what I mean? There's no I in team, baby. So it's
it's
Thank
true.
you
That's
for being a friend.
Yeah, exactly.
I know what you're saying. It's like trying to remember your game.
Yeah.
It can be hard. Like
Yeah.
your character-y game that like is across the whole set
Yeah.
can be like hard when games come up.
When there's other shiny objects to look
Yes,
at.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
But you also can have a chaos.
Well-
You love to lean into chaos. You like joy in it.
It's fun, right?
Yeah.
It's fun. And like I think so much of improv can become hyper obsessive of like, oh, we've lost something, and it's like, then lose it. Keep losing
Oh,
it
yeah,
until
yeah.
the swirl comes into a shape again. And
Well,
like
people start to take it so seriously, and it's supposed to be fun. And so, I always say, if you shit the bed and you're like jumping around and throwing it around, and it's like, and you're having fun, I want to watch you have fun.
Yeah.
But if you shit the bed and then you go, oh no, then I'm gonna feel that way, right? Like how you feel about it and how you show that you feel about it is how everyone's gonna feel about it.
Yes, it's so true. You can almost watch the exact same set of moves played by a more experienced improviser and a less experienced improviser, and the more experienced improviser, the only reason it kind of feels like it works more is because there's all these subtle cues that they're not living and dying by inches with
Yeah.
each move, that they're like, this, I'm not bothered, that this is not, that nothing is happening
Not only am I
yet.
not bothered,
I'm
come
having
on,
fun,
this
yeah.
is fun. Like
Yeah.
that's the fun of it, is that we just can be like, haha, whatever happens. And if if at the end of it made no sense, but you watched us laugh at each other and enjoy
Right.
each other and like look each other in the eye, I feel like there's there's value in it. And like back in the day, John Daly used to be my roommate, and we were on a Herald team together, and we would sometimes have these like real long discussions about what it is, and he was all about we made people laugh. It was a good show. And I was like, what about how we feel? How
Right.
about, and now I'm like really in a place where I'm like, it's all of the above, but like to take it really seriously and think like, oh, but my art,
Yeah.
it's like at the end of the day, like we're here to be having fun. And if you're not having fun, the audience cannot have fun with
No,
you.
they
They just
cannot.
cannot.
especially in like a format like this where you are sort of, even I don't want to say reducing it down, but the improv is all
So
conceptual,
personal,
right?
yeah.
It's personal. You're right up next to each other.
And
a
you're
lot
not
of
up
things
moving
are,
around. You're not
Exactly,
dancing. You're like
exactly.
we are trying to
Right.
communicate all of a musical
Right.
in a chair with
Yeah.
holding a microphone, which is
It's
it's
so
the format
different.
is so different.
Yeah.
I'm literally looking at your eyes in a mirror.
Yeah.
Does the audience know that from home, that's how
Yeah, they
you're
can-
that you're facing
Oh, maybe
away
they
from
don't
me?
if they've never listened to
And
if
the
they've
wa-
only listened.
Yeah, and if I'm sitting in that chair, I'm like, Philip has a mirror that he has taped to the front of his piano, and so we sit actually kind of behind and beside him, and we look him in the eye in a mirror.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
Often
it's like
I'd be watching him perform, looking at the back of his head, like
Yeah.
as the character, and then I'd look.
And
at
you'd be
his
like,
face
"Oh,
and
he's
so
looking at me."
handsome. I was like, he's looking at me.
Well, I'd be looking at your face, and I'd look over and be like, "Oh, he's singing right to me. I
Yeah.
could be looking him right in the eyes right now."
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
I'm always only looking in your eyes
Right.
because obviously I can't see the back of my
Yeah.
own head
Right.
yet. Yet.
There was
But okay. So we have to close up. I know we have to
Yes.
go to the zoo.
I'm going to the zoo.
Woohoo! I'm going to Walnut,
What is-
California.
That's a place?
Ever heard of it?
No.
I'm going to Brownie.
You
I've
wish.
never lived.
I want to know.
By the way, selling Girl Scout cookies right now.
Oh my
so
God.
this comes out
Stop
during. If
talking.
this comes out
The
anytime
hustle,
in
dude. She doesn't
February
quit.
Never
or
ends.
early March, please reach out to me
honestly
if you
living
want
the
Girl
life.
Scout
It's the way to them
cookies.
cookies, baby.
I
Turn
can deliver
everything
them
into a
to
Copeland's
you
got
if
them
you live in Los
cookies.
Angeles. I'm not even joking.
You want a
The
Thin
last thing
Mint?
I want to ask you guys about is like what's on your mind in terms of like musical improv as a form, and like what you find yourself thinking about in terms of what you like, what's something you're working on, or what's something you're like hopeful about in the form.
Yeah.
You know,
for me,
feel
it's
free to be quite nerdy about it.
For
to
me,
other
it's all about
players.
like I think singing, but making music in general, but specifically singing and improvising are the two things that you can do to connect to your your subconscious or your unconscious mind fastest. I think you peer into someone's mind when you see them sing, when you see them improvise, and when you combine the two of them, I think you get to immediately see a person's ability to sort of interact with the unknown. And for me, it's how can I interact with the unknown in a way that's friendly, that's welcoming, that's sort of against the physiology and biology of a human being, which is to approach the unknown as scary or different. And so I'm constantly trying to challenge myself of like, oh, here's an idea that I wasn't anticipating or that I myself didn't have. How do I welcome it and bring it into the fold and greet that with friendliness versus push it away or say no to it or reject the ideas? And I think that extends into life.
That is
Oh my
so
God, I
funny.
love his multitudes.
Thanks.
He like walks in and he's like, I'm just a ditzy, sexy ditz head. And then he starts
I would never
talking.
describe myself as that, but I appreciate
You do a character that's like, oh, I love.
you
But
want
then
Thin
you start
Mints?
talking, and you are like one of the smartest people. And I told
Very
this
kind
to
of
you
you.
before.
You have.
He's so smart.
He's so
Appreciate
smart.
that.
He's really contained so many multitudes. This person right here.
You know?
Two multitudes.
Two multitudes.
Sex
Big,
craved,
and they're really
ditz,
big.
and
Yeah,
really
yeah,
smart
yeah,
person.
Really smart.
What about you, Sarah?
Oh my gosh. What am I?
What
It's
are
like
you thinking about, or maybe it can be struggling with, or maybe it can be like excited or interested in the form, or
mean,
in your own
it's-
growth with it?
I mean, it's like it's really, really true. I do it. I watch people do this so much, and I teach it, and I'm coaching it. I am learning things all the time about myself and about other people, and I find it. There are certain trends that are fascinating where you're like, oh, everyone is doing this one thing right now, and it's like a weird. Like almost like a bad habit or like a crutch that everyone is falling on. And so then I'm like, okay, here's the thing. As I coach and I teach, I'll go, here's the thing I'm seeing all the time. Let's work away from that. Let's go against that. So like Ashley calls it a pitch fest, like opening numbers where all 8 people step out and sort of stand in a line and start pitching and they stop listening. And what I really am into right now and really love is the idea of 2 things. Attack, which is like do not let anything get by you. Do not let anything get said that you do not hear. And show me that you hear it. And I mean that, show me. That's the other thing I'm really into. Show me, you don't have to tell me that you heard it. Show me that you heard it, because react to it. And reactions are not words. Reactions are literally right now, you are reacting to me. I can feel that you are listening to me, right? I know that you are listening to me. And so I saw Jeff Goldblum give this talk a couple of months ago at the Academy Museum. He was like, he got to pick any of his movies to show, and he chose Nashville, which is fascinating. I'd never seen it, and I really wanted to see it. He does not speak in that movie. By the way, if you've never seen Nashville, what a fascinating movie. It's so interesting. It's so long. But he doesn't speak in the movie, and he talked about how he had all these like acting teachers and directors talk about him as an actor and how good he is at listening. And I've been thinking a lot about that, listening, because I've been teaching kids a lot and they're not great listeners, and like what it means to react and listen and how to listen in a way that is reacting and do not let anything go by. And the truth is, when things go by you, it's because you're thinking of what you're going to say, or you're planning how you're going to react because you didn't hear the whole sentence all the way through, or you didn't really. And I really want to figure out how to keep unlocking that for people, that ability to really, truly, truly, truly listen without planning and thinking and to let the thing become it can become so weird and so strange and so fun, and that's that mess that you can live in, right? I keep saying lately, food fights are only fun for the people in them. Food fights are only fun for the people throwing food at each other. The people who don't want to get dirty, or who think you're breaking the rules, or who we shouldn't treat food this way, or judging, or whatever. That is not. Those people are not having a good time in a food fight. That if you can just think of like improv as like a food fight that's fun when we all throw food at each other and we aren't afraid to get a little messy or whatever. And I say that in my notes to students all the time. I want you to get a little messy. I want you to play in the mud. I want you to get a little silly, because I can feel the sort of seriousness with which you are taking it.
Societal conditioning of your whole life.
Your whole life, you are trained to take things and to be right and to be wrong and to,
And just the comfort too of like feeling confident that we don't, like, a human mind doesn't need a lot to create a connection to it. You know what I'm saying? So when you create a scene like a food fight, all these dynamics can be happening, and maybe you're only throwing tomatoes, but from an audience's perspective, so much can be
You're
built
still
from that
in there.
tapestry.
I'm sorry, but the class president is going to participate in the food fight differently than the class clown. But but the participation is what's going to make that fun. How you participate is what's or if you were me as a child, you would have stood there and just cried the whole time because it scared you and you knew it was wrong, but you wouldn't go rat it out to the teacher because you want to be you want to fit in, you want to be a part of it. And so it's like just like that idea of like, how do you keep unlocking that for people?
It's
that
also,
you're always still going to be in there.
It's also why, improv gets this like cult philosophy to it, because the skills you develop and are challenged on in improv, in classes, in shows, in connecting with other people, are the same skills that make you a better listener, a better partner, a better friend.
Life skills.
Yeah, very like life skills that we don't spend a lot of time developing outside of usually our most intimate partnerships. Yeah. So it's strange sometimes to develop them on a live wire in front of other people on stage. I think that's where a lot of the reason people are so drawn to it is that they can feel their interpersonal ability to connect strengthening because it is an anti-ego exercise.
Yes, it's not a team. It's a team sport, not an ego sport. I've taught this in law schools, in business schools, in Fortune 500 companies. I've used improv. I've had students come to me and say, it's changed the way I interact with my children. All these business schools started hiring improvisers to come teach their year one classes because they realized they were graduating the most brilliant business minds in the country, but they didn't know how to make eye contact with people. They didn't know how to actually be in a room and connect, and that human connection is one of the most valuable skills that you can have in this world. Yeah, I love that.
And then sometime we're gonna have to get into, because and maybe we have time right now, I don't know, but this sense of should you leave anything behind in a scene? Because I'm actually a proponent of a middle ground where I see students so terrified to let go of somebody said something with a slight. They accidentally said it a certain way, and that has to become the game of the scene.
Yeah, no, that's not what I don't. Yeah. I think I agree with that. That's not really what I mean. I don't mean get a dog, not get the bone in your mouth and never drop the bone. Yeah. But if the bone is there, you've got to acknowledge the bone.
You have to hear it. Yeah.
You have to show
Even
that.
If hearing it is letting it go. Like, they accidentally said it this way. It's like, oh, well, I know you meant this, and then you fold in and move on. But it's the audience can feel everything that is not acknowledged, and it becomes like a psychic weight. Yeah.
Because then you're not listening either, because all you're doing is thinking about the thing that you're trying to always bring it back to, right? Yeah. And it's a matter of like you're always going with the current, but you can't ignore when there's a wave or when there's a rock or whatever, right? That's what I mean. Like, I think both of those things fit together perfectly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I see it as like a skateboarding. You know what I mean? You get on the board and you just pushing, baby.
It's like you know me. I'm always with the metaphor.
I'm
always with the metaphor.
Oh my God.
But
you're
always adjusting a little
Anything
bit.
else you guys want to add before we?
No, you are delightful, and that was
thank you.
wonderful, and I had so much fun.
What a
Thank
joy.
you for asking me to do this with you, Ryan.
My pleasure.
Thanks for doing it, guys. Have a great day.
Yay!
Love ya.
See you at
Love
the zoo.
ya.
It's Girl Scout cookies.
Wow, gotta get the last word.
Cookies, baby.
JK. I mean, I know I really do have them, but
Yeah, I understand. I'll take some.